Hey, welcome back. I got an interesting article here from Pew Research. Seems like they've been doing some polling about those shots, and we're going to find out why apparently 60% of Americans aren't getting updated, what vaccines. I'll put the link in the description down below if you want to check out this article for yourself. Let's see, caption on the picture: pharmacist Deep Patel prepares flu and COVID vaccines for a customer in Huntington Park, California on August 28, 2024. 6 in 10 Americans say they will probably not get an updated 2024-2025 COVID-19 vaccine. According to an October Pew Research Center survey, smaller shares say they probably will get an updated vaccine, 24%, or have already received one, 15%. So there's the 40% split. So 24 said they will get an updated, and 15 said they've already received one. Okay. The CDC and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention has recommended the updated thing to everyone ages 6 months and older ahead of the fall-winter months to help protect severe disease and hospitalization. This is what's wild, it's so reckless to me that that sentence, and I trust Pew Research. They seem to be a reputable source. The fact that the CDC would be like, "Oh, fall and winter's coming, go get updated." It's sketchy. I think you would want to go and listen to your doctor and make sure that you need to get updated, or that your doctor is saying to get updated. The whole thing has been so weird to me, to the fact that the government has been pushing down these guidelines when historically governments all throughout history and in different countries, when you let them start dictating stuff, really bad things happen. Like, they're not your doctor. They have no idea whether you're eligible for one or should get one, or whether you're on the schedule. This kind of idea that the government is telling you when and when not to get one, or urging you to get one if it's fall and winter, is very dangerous in my mind, and reckless. Let's continue. Views of the updated vaccine are sharply divided across partisan lines, with Democrats and those who lean to the Democratic Party being more likely than Republicans and Republican leaners to say they will get the vaccine. The partisan divide is particularly large among adults age 65 and older. They're saying one of the most at-risk groups. So let's look at this chart here. Adults, so there's the 60%, probably going to get is 24%, already received 15. So that's just by age. No, there it goes. Okay, there's the Republican leaning. So generally, boy, they're into the 81% say they probably not going to get. 11 say they're probably going to get, and 7 say they've already received it. Democrat leaning, or Democrat, 37% probably going to get. So 81% to 37% difference. Wow, that's pretty stark. Wild. Partisan differences continue to dwarf other factors, including age, when it comes to whether people intend to get a COVID-19 vaccine this season. I didn't ever really know that. I didn't know that it was kind of divided like that. I guess generally I knew, but I didn't know it was that pronounced. Roughly 6 in 10 Democrats say they will probably get the vaccine. 39% or already have, 23%. By contrast, 81% of Republicans say they probably won't get the vaccine. This pattern is consistent with Pew Research data from throughout the pandemic, showing that Democrats were more likely than Republicans to be up to date with their vaccines, which makes sense. Historically, Democrats have believed in government, believed in the good of government and government's ability to do good things, whereas Republicans and conservatives have not so much. That's where I fall in the conservative group. I've just never seen anything the government has ever done that's inspired me to put any faith and trust in them, which is weird because all of us are looking at the same events. I look at the wars, very expensive and costly, not only in terms of money, but also in costs of lives. And then at the end of the day, I don't see any reason for the war. Like, look at Afghanistan. We were there for 20 years. We pulled out and there was nothing gained. It was a total waste, a total shit show. We lost, 4,000 servicemen, billions or trillions of dollars. Afghani people, I know that are in Iraq, 200,000 to 600,000 were unalived. That's civilians, women and kids and moms and dads. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's bueno at all. In Afghanistan, I have to believe the same thing happened. I don't know the numbers there, but I do know since 9/11, post 9/11 wars have unalived 4.5 million, if you believe the Watson Institute Cost of War project at Brown University. It's so wild. The government did what was it? The Affordable Care Act back in 2011. I've never seen any benefit whatsoever there. They did financial reform. Barney Frank and what was it? Chris Dodd or Frank and Dodd. I don't know their first names. I forget the first name of the one gentleman. I don't know. Is that better? It seems more sketch. From my perspective, everything the federal government touches turns to what. I've never seen reason to be inspired by their ability to get things done. I've seen them as, incompetent at best, super corrupt at worst. And I'm talking bipartisan, both sides, Republican or Democrat. I just have never seen anything that inspires me to trust them in the least, which is very interesting to see so many people trusting them on the Democrat side. Let's continue on here. Okay, this is another graph right here. We're not quite there yet. Let's see. This pattern is consistent with Pew Research data. Okay. There are also differences by age in the shares who say they intend to get or already got an updated vaccine. Among adults age 65 and older, 54 say they either plan to get it, or 20% or 27 say they already received it, or have already received it, 27. So 54 say they're planning. Yeah. In contrast, majority of those under 65 say they do not plan to get an updated, I think people are seeing, well, what's the point really, 7 in 10 Republicans, 65 and older, say they don't plan. That's interesting, to get an updated. Among adults aged 65 and older, there are big differences by political party in the shares who say they will probably get an updated thing. Democrats in this age group are 54 percentage points more likely than their Republican peers to say they plan. That was the 84 to 30 spread. Wild. I just attribute it to the fact that, it's like a Chevy Ford kind of a thing. You either believe in one or you believe in the other one. But this is so crazy how we can both be looking at the same situation, but seeing it from an entirely different standpoint. And I'm willing to admit that I'm probably, I have my biases. I could be overly harsh on the government. Maybe they have done some wonderful things. I just can't think of anything now that I've been so pleased with that I want to put my faith and trust in them. Vaccine uptake among the oldest adults has not always diverged by bipartisan affiliation to such an extent. In 2021, after the first things became available to all U.S. adults, there was only a 15-point gap between the large shares. So that's the, that's where the 84 to 30. So it was down to 15% point gap. There are also differences within each political party by age, but age differences are more pronounced among Democrats than Republicans. Among Democrats, vaccine uptake increases considerably with age. About half of Democrats ages 18 to 29 and 30 to 49 say they plan to get or have already received an updated vaccine. That share rises to 66% among Democrats aged 50 to 64. Let me interject something else here that is, again, the other part of the equation. Government's only part of the equation. Again, I don't trust those mofos any further than I can throw them, and it ain't very far. Pharmaceutical companies. those corporations have been in trouble with the law since the day they were born. They're super corrupt. They have a long history of putting profits over people. Again, my perspective. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to get your perspective on this. From my perspective, their products never solve the problem. They just solve a symptom, in which case they create a customer for life, which is very strange to me. It doesn't make sense to me why you want to pop a pill to create a customer for life, as opposed to doing everything you can from a lifestyle standpoint, diet, nutrition, or diet/nutrition, exercise, sleep, water, all these things that, from my experience, can have a huge impact on healing the body in all sorts of ailments. I mean, I've read story after story of people reversing all sorts of ailments and healing their body by changing their diet and lifestyle and exercise. You couple that with the fact that the pharmaceutical company has paid billions of dollars in fines for making claims about their products and messing with the data, writing studies and giving them to doctors saying, hey, publish this in your journal. I mean, they're just very, very sketchy. And again, it's kind of concerning when you look out in the world and see so many people trusting what I feel are the two most corrupt entities on the planet, which are governments. And I'm not just hosing on the American government. All governments are like this. Inherently, governments have to lie to and deceive people in order to get the job done. That's been my experience. Like, they're all doing it. And then you go back to these corporations. The other fact of the matter is just corporations in general have deceived and lied to and manipulated people in order to sell their products. Nestle comes to mind. They went into certain third world countries, I can't remember specifically which ones, convinced the moms that their, milk powder or their milk substitute was better than breast milk. And then to sell a product. It's complete BS. Corporations, you got to watch them real close. They're just sketchy. Not all of them, but they have a history. See, that's the other thing. I don't really care about what they say they're doing now or where they're, we're going to help you now or we're going to help you in the future. I just look in the past and go, okay, well, what have you done? And then I will know them by their fruits. And when you see they've been in trouble with the law since the day they were born and they've lied to and manipulated public before, I'm like, well, I know you by your fruits, and I don't care what you say you're doing or what you say is happening. I only look at the past, just like an individual. When you meet someone, you're going to want to know who they are, what they've done, where they've been, so you can know them. You want to know them, but it just seems like people put blinders on with these government agencies and these corporations, and they just blindly trust them. It's so wild to me. Let's see. Among Republicans, majorities in all age groups say they do not plan to get an updated vaccine. However, the oldest Republicans are somewhat more likely. 3 in 10 Republicans say they have received or plan to get one. Let's see. Majorities of white, 62%, and Hispanic, 58%. Adults say they will probably not get an updated COVID-19 vaccine, while Black and Asian adults are evenly divided. So this gets into some pretty details. I'm not going to go through all of it because it can get a little bit, but again, Pew Research doesn't mess around. Let me see if there's anything else in here of interest. And let's see. Our February survey found that among Americans overall, there was little difference by race and ethnicity. We asked Americans who say they probably won't get an updated vaccine about 4 possible reasons. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Top reasons for not getting an updated vaccine: not needing it and concern about side effects. Okay, so don't think you need it. That's the major reason. There's the 61%. Concern about side effects, another 60. So that's it. That's a high. Don't get vaccines in general. That's where I fall. 26%. I've never had a flu vaccine. I other than my childhood vaccines, that's all I've ever had. And I've never seen anyone, I never have known anyone to pass away from the flu. I've never, even elderly people. If I have, I've forgotten. I'm sure I have known an elderly person to pass away from that. But here's the thing. It's not prominent enough in my experience to make me go out and get that thing. Even no matter what the GOV says, what pharmaceutical companies say, if I haven't seen it in my experience, I'm not going to go do something based on what another person says. Apparently, I'm a very skeptical person. Who knew? I kind of knew. I kind of knew. Let's be real. I'm not sure what it would cost too much. That's interesting because I thought they're still free. Okay, a sense that the vaccine isn't needed. So this is just breaking down. That's it. There's the article. Interesting. Very interesting, considering the fact that I believe there were 70, didn't they have like a 70 to 80% vaccination rate at one point of the first two, shots? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I appreciate you for checking out this video. Have an awesome day. I appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next time. All the best, health, wealth, and success. Bye-bye.